Okay, welcome back to Susie's Cozy Corner. Happy Friday Eve. We have just put E18 into E21, E19, and E20. So we have the top of our now I'm blanking on this telescope. I wanted to say microscope, but I'm like, that's not right. Okay, right now I am fighting these little legs and trying to make sure that they're in there correctly because I am doing a bit of a struggle with these, so just bear with me. Keep hearing me use the word orientation and things like that. And these instructions overall are pretty clear. They're not the best instructions I've ever seen. They're not the worst instructions I've ever seen. They are not in color, and sometimes these pieces are a little bit difficult to figure out. Okay, that does look right to me now. So that does look like it is correct. Now, the proof is going to be in the pudding because we are going to put it into E17, which is the base. And we're going to see what it looks like in the base and if it fits in there okay. Okay. Oh, it looks like it's gone in there pretty well. And looks like a telescope to me. Looks even. So I think we're good with that piece. Moving right along, we are going to take, I don't know if this is a window, a cabinet, whatever, but we are going to go ahead and take E11, E13, put them on top of each other. I'm going to dry fit them. That is a pretty tight fit. I'm not going to use any glue. I'm going to then take, there are two E12s. Again, very nice quality. They are double-sided printed, so you don't have to worry about that so much. And we are going to snap those onto there. I think, yeah, there's nothing holding these sides. I'm going to go ahead, gently move that out of my way so I don't have to pop it off, because once you have a tight fit and you start popping things off, it can loosen the fit and then you'd need some glue. So I'm going to just take some glue, just a little bit, and put it along the side here just to kind of hold everything into place so it doesn't move around. And I would imagine that once we finish this piece, there'll also be other pieces that will also help kind of keep it in place. But this is so that the piece doesn't get broke or move. And we're going to do the other side. Okay. So we are taking E12 and snapping it on to E11. And we have E13 at the top. And then we are going to take E16, which is this piece right here. Goes on to the bottom. Okay. This one I am going to put a little bit of glue along these sides. Press it down. There we go. That's what that looks like. Moving right along, we are going to take this piece that we just did. I am going to take a little bit of B7000 Beacon, not B7000. I was just using B7000. I'm going to use my Beacon 3-in-1 glue and just put a very, very light coating of glue on that. We're going to go ahead and take this. There are two little tabs in the back. Take this piece, line those little tabs, and then slide it back in so that it is in place. This is where I sometimes struggle. I'm like, does it make better sense to have done this piece first versus the bottom piece? But the instructions had called for this piece to go second, and so it's fine. Okay. All right, both of those pieces are on. These pieces are setting up. There we go. That's what that looks like. So that's all together now as well. And then we are going to be moving on, and we have one final piece that will complete step 16, and it is this very pretty Maine Coon Norwegian Forest cat. And he or she, let's see, what should we call it? We need kind of a good artist's name. So should we call the cat Picasso? I think so. We're going to call the cat Picasso. So we're putting Picasso on top of the telescope cabinet. And that one is all done. We're going to move on to step 17 in just a second. I'm going to pop out all of these pieces because there's a number of them. Get them all lined up. And then we're going to put those pieces all together. And we're going to move right along getting this kit together. There are 36 steps. And so I really want to finish this kit up by tomorrow night. Hold on 1 minute. Okay, moving along, we are going to be taking care of the next steps, which are going to be taking B2, B4, and B1. This is going to complete step 17. And it's telling me that the unfinished sides are going to be showing outward. So I'm looking to see exactly what I'm doing. Okay. So they want me to take this side, put it in over here. I may need needle nose pliers to just give me a little bit more control. Okay. And then they're telling me that this one is going to go like this. Oops. No, it's not going like that. Oh my goodness. It's like it does not want to get put in. Okay. All right. So this is what I'm talking about. The unsided piece goes here and it goes here, so that this is what it looks like to me. But I think these are backwards. So, like I said, orientation is important, and as much as I try, I still make mistakes. I've only put together like 25 of these kits. Every kit is different. Every kit, until you actually put the pieces together, you're like, is this correct? And honestly, sometimes it's easier to know than others, because I have this facing me. They want me to have this piece here. Okay. They want that piece facing out, correct? Did I have this correct? Okay. And this piece. Maybe I did have it correct. Okay. When you've had a week like I've had, I feel like I have a black cloud over me, and I don't usually feel like that. And today I do for some unknown reason. So apparently I did have it correct, and I don't know. But that's what it looks like. And then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to close that. Always close your glue up because it gets dry. Okay, then we're going to take this. Put a little dab there just to hold this window into place. The finished part is going to go into the front. We're using the sides to grab a hold of to kind of push it down, make sure it's flat. Okay, that piece is done. Put it to the side. Now, this next series is going to be J31 through, I'm sorry, J30 through 33. So there's 4 shelves. We're building another kind of bookcase item. We're going to start with J30. We've got D7 and we have J42. J42, we're going to flip this around. Gets glued on. So a little bit of B7000 glue. I'm going to grab a hold of a pair of tweezers. Just kind of helps you. And then what I am going to do is I'm going to use the line that's already on here. And I'm going to just place it right on that line. That way I know it's nice and straight. I don't know how I may end up using, I think, Beacon 3-in-1 glue versus B7000 glue. I find that it works a little bit better for pieces like this that are just kind of hanging out. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a little dab. Told you. You will get some dry glue on your ends, so just go ahead and put a little bit of glue just along this edge. Again, best way to avoid strings that I have found is just slowly squeezing and rubbing it along of whatever edge you are working on. Slide this down. We do not want to impede, like, so you see how there's a little tab at the end? Maybe this is an easier way to say it. Do not push your stuff like all the way over, because when these click into place, then you're going to end up with some problems, and it's glued into place. It could damage the piece. So just don't do that. And then we're going to put this little vase here, right next to it. And I like to use my needle nose pliers to do that. Shelf 1 is done. Then shelf 2, we are going to take D5, which is a little, maybe like a little vase. I don't know what they're called. They're the ones that are, they have like a dome, a glass dome, and they put like a flower into them. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to take a little Beacon 3-in-1 glue. We're going to put that on the base. And then what we're going to do is we're going to stack 3 of the books that we put together earlier. And we're just, the first one is going to be nice and neat. And then the other 2 are going to be put a little haphazardly. Our artist was not the neatest person in the world. We're going to put the spines showing towards us, making sure again that that does not hang over the back edge of the piece, only because you don't want to have issues. And I've had issues with, I didn't realize that, you know, it was going to bump up against something. And we're going to just kind of continue that. We're going to put the next book on with a little dab of B7000 glue, and we're just going to make it look just a little messy, not too crazy. More so because it will drive me nuts. I like things neat. But you know, when you're kind of haphazardly putting something away and your books just get stacked on each other. Okay, and then the last book we're going to kind of tilt towards like that. Knock it down, and then we have a little messy pile of books. Second shelf is done. Our third shelf, we have a little quill and pen and a little old-fashioned telephone. Again, going to just use my, okay, that went in really easy, which means to me I'm going to flip this over. One hole is bigger than the other one, and so this would need the smaller hole. That kind of helps you know which one goes into which. pens in, and then the telephone goes in. Okay, and there we go. And we've got those in. And there we go. That's another shelf done. And then our last shelf has another one of those glass domes and a paintbrush. And we're going to glue the paintbrush on, which is going to be interesting. So we're going to lay the paintbrush in this way. Go ahead and put just a little Beacon 3-in-1. And then use my tweezers, not my pliers. Grab the wrong tool. And put that on. Slide it a little bit away from the edge. And that's our last shelf. Okay, so while those are drying, I'm going to close up my glues. So I'm going to take, I always keep paper towel by me. I learned a long time ago when I started to do my nails that you don't use tissue or tissue paper. Tissue and tissue paper will actually leave lint behind. Most paper towels, at least all the ones that I've used, don't leave any lint behind, which is kind of why paper towel is preferred. I don't use a lot. I basically take one sheet and cut it into quarters. Okay, so I am going to take J26, which is right here, and we're actually going to do these a little out of order. So they want me to take J31. That's going to be the top shelf. Remember, your stuff is not completely dried, so it's going to move. Unless you have more patience than me and you let it dry for like a half an hour, then it won't move. And to be honest, sometimes letting it move, it's okay. I mean, this is a little shelf that's just, you know, an artist. Okay, and then we're going to be taking J32. That one's going to be next. So we're going to put that one in next, popping it into the side. And then we are going to take J33, put that one in next. And then J31, or J30, excuse me, is going to go on the bottom. Why? I don't know. I don't know why they just didn't do this in order, but it's J32, 33, 34, 30, right? No, J30 is on the bottom, then it's J31, 32, 33, and 30. There's going to be a quiz later. And if you can figure out what I've said, congratulations. Because I think I've just confused myself. All right, I am going to line up these holes the best that I can, gently squeezing. I'm not going to go crazy. I just want them into the holes a little bit so that everything's sort of aligned. And then I'm going to kind of squeeze both sides together. The hope is nothing breaks. The sides all go together nice and firm without a lot of issue. I do need my little hammer. I'm going to gently tap. Everything's lined up. So it's all nice and strong. I'm going to push these books towards the front. Okay. Twist the top one a little bit. There we go. Okay, now we're going to take J29, which has got lots of holes, but where it wants me to put it is in this hole back here, right there. I've never seen a kit where pieces share holes like this, at least this many. I've seen it, you know, once or twice in other kits, but this is quite a few of them. Okay, so we've got, this is what it's looking like. And again, we have one unfinished side here, one finished side here. So probably going to go into the Nook like this, because you're not going to see the unfinished side. Okay, we've got the top on. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put the front on. And that is going to go right into this hole here. And I'm going to go ahead, before I do that, go ahead and put some Beacon 3-in-1 glue on the sides here. Not required, recommended. You only have a small tab holding this whole top on, and that makes me a little nervous, to be truthful. So, using my nail to kind of push it in there. You can use your tweezers. Make sure everything, like those books, keep moving around a little bit, and that's okay. We need to reglue them a little bit, we can. It's pretty good. I like the detail on this one. I think that the detail on this is, the colors are very pretty. They're masculine, but with, also being artistic at the same time. Being an artist studio, I kind of like the fact that, there's beauty. There's beauty in furniture, and so that's what that's looking like. Then we're going to take J21. For this one, I'm just going to put a thin layer of glue along the base, and that I'm going to use my B7000 glue. Now, as I've said many times before, this is my preference. You do you, boo. If you find that you want to use B7000 glue for the entire thing, go for it. You want to use Eileen's tacky glue, go for it. There's no right or wrong way to do any of these kits if you follow the instructions. I mean, that's really the only requirement. I just find that using these glues, interchanging them, and then occasionally using Eileen's glue or the super glue gel, that's what works for me. That's how I get my kits together. And everybody's a little different. Now we are putting on J22 and J23. They're identical pieces. The only difference being that they are the way they're facing. I'll show that to you in just a second. I'm going to tap these in just slightly, make sure I'm not using glue on any of these pieces because they are, as you can see, very tight to get in there. And that's what we're looking like. So it's looking really good. Okay, so that was our steps 17 and 18, and we're still going to continue on with 18 because it looks like but yet there's more. It's like, but wait, there's more. All you have to do is pay shipping and handling. For those of us who have insomnia, I think you probably know what an infomercial is. Spent a lot of my time watching infomercials back in the day. Okay, so we do have a couple open spaces at the top. We're going to pop out J24. There's two of those, and J25. And then we are going to also pop out J57, and then D10, D17, D18, and D19. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back. So we're going to take, there are two J24s. We are going to take the short nub, put it into the side here. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so then what we're going to do, so the short ones, as I said, went into the bottom. And then I think you can see that there's a longer one there, and that's because we're going to be putting another shelf onto that. So first they want us to take J25, put that down here, like so. That one is very loose. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just put a little bit of B7000 glue. Again, it doesn't call for it. Okay, it's not. I don't think it's, no, there's no glue on here. I'm telling you to do it because it's recommended. You can listen to me or not. That's your choice. Okay. So then we have got this one that's going to go on, and I'm going to put a thin line of glue, the Beacon 3-in-1 glue. This is the top piece. I don't want to cover up the holes, but I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to slide this on top using those long J24 tabs. So I talked through this entire kit as we're doing this. I'm brand new to this. I don't know if this is annoying people or not. To be truthful, I have no followers yet, I don't think. I'm trying to do this in addition to establishing some volunteer opportunities and taking care of my family and working full-time. So I don't know what works best for everyone. I know I've watched, excuse me, my paper towel fell. I know that I have watched these videos and nobody talks. They just point. And you're like, okay, but what are you pointing at? You know, it's like, help me understand. So I think the next one I'm going to do is, I'm not going to talk at all through it. I may do a voiceover if I can figure out how to do that, or I may only talk when it's not obvious as to what I'm doing, but I really don't know, because I'm just trying to teach those who've never done a kit, you know, the proper steps to doing it, sharing the tricks and trades and things that I've done. I'm a novice, I think, compared to a lot of people. I mean, there are people who've done hundreds of kits. I've done maybe 24, I think, at this point. I probably should count them. I love doing this. This is fun for me. It's my stress reliever. I've actually had several people try. One person is very good at doing it. The other person chose a difficult kit to start with, and it just was not her cup of tea. And there we go. So that's what that looks like, and that completes our step 18. It's all put together, and so we're going to put that to the side, and easy peasy. We've gotten 2 big steps done. We're going to work on step 19 next, which are just 2 boxes. This shouldn't take any time at all. I'm going to go ahead and pop out those pieces, and I'll be right back. Okay, we have got F16, and we're going to put F19 on either side. I don't typically use glue for these type of boxes. You'll see in just a second why. Okay, then we're going to take F18. They are going to go on to the other sides. You can hear everything clicking together, all nice and tight. It's a beautiful sound. Okay, that's what it looks like. So there's your box so far. And then we're going to take the top, which is F17. That fits right into these grooves. And you just press it down firmly. And again, if you're struggling with it, just pop it out, turn it slightly. Sometimes, you know, for whatever reason, it will fit better with one way. And then, if all else fails, get your handy dandy hammer make sure everything's lined up. And whack out your bad day. And then there's a little slot on the top. And we are going to go ahead and we are going to take a little B7000 glue. We're going to take D15. It's another sculpture. I really thought that this guy was a painter, so maybe he just likes sculptures. I don't know, but there's a lot of sculptures in this. We're going to pop that right on there. And ta-da! That is all done. We are going to move on to our next box. I will be right back. I'm going to pop those out. And then we will pretty much be done with step 19. We're moving right along. So hold on one second while I get those ready. Okay, we are going to take F13. We are going to start with putting F15 onto the sides. Same exact thing we did before. The only difference is that this is going to be the bottom box. And so it's actually going to be below the box that we just put together with the bust on it. And then we'll glue the two together using some Beacon 3-in-1 glue. Doing the sides, and I usually just squeeze, and then when it's all together I squeeze some more. It's nice that these are so tight fitting. A little challenging to pop them off. You just want to be careful because sometimes you can chip the detail, and I've used my little stain sticks to touch up anything that might be chipped. If it's on the bottom, I don't worry about it. And then we're just going to pop another F13 on the top. See if that one will go in without having me to whack out my feelings for the week. Okay, so, and I just kind of go around. I make sure everything is popped in there, and I will tell you that one does not want to go in there, so now it does. Another box is done. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And then what we're going to do is we are going to put, as I said, some Beacon 3-in-1 glue. And we're going to kind of put this where we want the box to be. And no strings, so we're going to, we also don't want a lot of glue, and we don't want the glue leaking out. So just a little bit of glue there. And then we're going to take this one, place it on top. And there you have your stacked boxes. And so step 19 is done, and we are going to build one more box, which is going to be box 20. There are 4 pieces to this box. We are going to need E25, E23, and E24. So E23 through E25 is what we're going to need next. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop these out without pausing. It should only take me a second to do this. Okay, so we are going to go ahead, and these are actually finished on both sides, which is wonderful. We're going to take these, and I want to make sure that I'm doing this correctly. I believe I am. Okay. There is decal on this, and this is why I was asking if I was doing this correctly, because it looks to me like there's a clasp on each side, and I want to make sure that clasp is showing the same way. You will see that there's a little tab. That means that's going to get stuck into one of the boards, probably one of the floors. Okay, moving right along, we need B12, C6, C7, and F23, and A4. And I will be right back with those pieces because we're going to take step 16 that we just finished with Picasso the cat, and we are going to build this wall. I'll be right back. Alrighty, so we are moving right along, and we are working now on step 21. This is going to be B12. It is two-sided, and the way that you know which side to be working on, there's only 3 pictures on here. And we're going to be putting on here C6, C7, and F23. So we're going to do that real fast. I'm going to use just a little bit of my B7000 glue, and I'm going to grab a pair of tweezers to help me with the placement of these. Again, you don't want glue all over your kit, artwork, whatever you want to call it. Nook. On my hands is fine. Okay, gently tap that into place. Make sure it looks like it's all lined up. It's nice that they provide the picture for you to place it. The only drawback to it is you have to be really exact as to where you place it then, because you don't want the printed frame to show when you have the 3D frame, because then it just looks silly and it drives me nutso. Rubbing my finger in there because some of the glue kind of spilled over and I didn't want that. Okay, get it into place and then just very gently tap it down. There you go. That'll just take a couple minutes to set up. Next piece we're going to glue. It says mind the orientation of B12. Okay, so that means, let me show you this. Okay, so we just did this step, okay? And you see how these three are here, all right? Do you notice how we did not put any frames here? That's what they're talking about with the orientation. So what they want you to do is they want you to flip B12 over, which makes me nervous because we just glued those and they do take a few minutes. But they want you to take it and they want you to flip it over and then put this piece onto here. So we're going to do that carefully. And I'm going to use the Beacon 3-in-1 glue for this. It's a little bit bigger piece. I like the Beacon a little bit better for the, the larger wood pieces. I think it has just a little bit stronger hold. Again, squeeze and spread. Don't know how else to describe it. You just, you can also squeeze out and take a toothpick, just a plain toothpick, and just gently spread it out. You can do that as well. I've done both, and sometimes I do both just to make sure that, I don't have a lot of extra glue, because I'd rather wipe it off now than, okay. So you want to make sure this is even. The best way to do that, literally, is look on the bottom. Make sure that these are not overhanging these pieces. Make sure that everything is all lined up. Now, what you can do and what I have done, because Beacon 3-in-1 glue does take a second to set up, you also want to make this look like an actual door. And so once I have this all set up, you can buy some fancy clamps. That's perfectly fine. I have binder clips. I have small and I have medium. And I am going to use those to hold my doorway into place. That's what I'm going to do. Let's see if this small one will hold it. That's fine. Okay. still all lined up. There you go. So you can see it's all lined up. I can take my paper towel. I don't really see a lot of glue or anything sticking out, but sometimes when you squeeze them like that, they're even to the floor. They're even to because I'm literally feeling and saying, yep, that feels good to me. And you can see it looks good. Perfect. Okay. So the next step we are going to do is turn this back over, and we are going to put, move this out of my way. This is covering the hole that I need. Just slide this one up here a little bit. Okay. Slide this one up. This is what happens when you're trying to do like 5 things to one piece at one time, and there's things that are glued. Sometimes I just walk away for 20 minutes and then I come back. I wanted to finish this piece though. Is this holding? Yeah. So you've got 2 openings. We are going to take the piece that we put together before. There are 2 tabs in the back. Those 2 tabs are going to go right there. What I am going to do is I'm going to use, surprisingly, a little Beacon 3-in-1 glue along the back of this. I am really thinking about selling some of these kits. I love putting these kits together, and there's just some that I'll never sell. I think this one is one that I would keep. There are other ones. I put together a coffee shop. It was really a cute build. It was fun. I learned a lot putting that kit together. It's just not my cup of tea, no pun intended. And so I was thinking, you know, if I could even just sell the kit for the cost of the kit, then I can buy more kits and put them together, which is what I enjoy doing the most. And then someone can enjoy my work who doesn't want to learn how to do this, and or doesn't have the time or whatever. I don't really care. And then I can purchase another kit, and I don't need somebody to pay me for my time, only because it's not work to me. This is a fun activity. I have to remind myself of that. My sister will joke as I'm dropping some not so ladylike words. I tend to make a sailor blush when I get aggravated. I think it was because of my dad. I love my dad. He had no boys, and so he taught us girls everything. How to change our oil, how to do repairs around the house. I can fix a clogged toilet or a sink, and also how to swear. Especially when you're putting something together and it doesn't work. I don't know. Sometimes it seems like swearing is the only way to get something to actually fit, work. I have no idea. As I've gotten older, I've tried really, tried. That's the key word. I have tried to ensure my filter's in place, but it's pretty rare that it's in place. It's negligible at best. Let's put it that way. I'm not a mean person at all. I have a very self-deprecating sense of humor, meaning I like to make fun of myself more than others. And my fiance always is like, he laughs. He just shakes his head and he's like, I never know what's going to come out of that pretty little mouth of yours. I said, no, you don't, darling. That's why you love me. Okay, so we are going to take F11. There's a glue string right there. I'm just cleaning up as I put these pieces in. I just like to see what I'm working with. There are 2 long tabs, and there are 2 long corresponding tabs. I'm going to put this in here. A little B7000 glue. I was putting together a kit. I think I mentioned it earlier on. And oh my goodness, it did not go together. I had such high hopes for this kit. It was so cute. I do have to kind of put the finishing touches on, and I've ordered some things from AliExpress. And so I think I'm going to do a quick video on just no talking, just me decorating it. And then it's going to go up with my Halloween decorations. And I'm going to debate, do I want to keep it or perhaps sell it next year? So I'm not going to make that decision right now. Okay. I also put some glue on the bottom of this just to give it a little added stability. It's looking, I think, pretty good. Not quite sure if all of my picture frames are exactly level. But that's okay. I think there was a struggle in this house. That's what we're going to go with. As Alex the painter was being kidnapped or disappearing or whatever he was doing, he was struggling. And so, okay, it does say H15, which is this long piece here, is very fragile. It's fragile, so be careful. Okay, so first we are going to put in the short piece, and that, I'm just trying to literally get my bearings and making sure that I'm putting this in the correct places. Because it looks like railings tend to be very fragile. And the problem is you don't tend to get extra pieces with these. So whatever you do, take your time, don't force things, you know, use your tools, use your patience. Just want to make sure, and that is right. I mean, that's where that goes. Okay, and then I'm going to take the H5, which is the one that they said is, they're both very fragile, so don't kid yourself. Okay, and this one is going to go this way. See how this has got that little end? That's going to make it look like it's a finished railing. So yeah, this is sort of like, don't make a mistake. Make absolutely sure, then go back and quadruple check it. Okay, I'm having a hard time seeing. There we go. I'm thinking about getting a light like my manicurist has. I think they're called a half moon light. I bought this one first. This is a magnifier slash light for my micro mini kits that I'm getting every month and putting together. And it works fairly well. I mean, I'm not knocking it. And then I have a light that clamps onto my desk. But I think it would be nice to just have one light that, you know, kind of does both. Okay. Now, is this up to code? No, it's not. It's not up to code. Absolutely not up to code. Are you kidding me? If this was up to code, then I'd have to laugh. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I have done H19, I've done H15, and now they want me to put on H18, which looks like there's supposed to be a hole down here for it, and I am not seeing this hole. Okay. So that's where this is. That's where there should be a hole right here, but that's where. Oh boy, what did we do wrong? And I don't see how we did anything wrong. It's almost like I'm missing. Of course, the one piece that's very fragile, I just told you this is one and done. I'm trying to get back out of here. And it did break, unfortunately, but it's a clean break and it's okay. I think we can fix it. I think something's not 100% right, and I'm not sure what I'm missing or what I am doing wrong. But it looks like, let's first of all go ahead and put this piece in here where they're saying it goes. So this piece is going right here. And it's not even going into, they wanted to go like this. Okay. So yes, I did break it. I'm not going to lie, and I'm not going to edit it out of this. But what I'm going to do is to show you, because this is real life. This stuff happens all of the time. I wish it didn't, but it does. So what we're going to do is we are going to first put the one piece in, okay? This is why I said it is really one and done. I mean, if I didn't have to get that piece in, I wouldn't have moved this, but unfortunately, I really had no choice. So, okay, let's start with this end. Maybe this end will treat me a little bit better than the other end. Okay. All right, that piece is in. Okay, so that piece is in. What we're going to do is we are going to, it's not a big deal. We're going to take B7000 glue. We're going to put a little bit of B7000 glue right on where the break is. Okay. We are going to take the piece that's broken. We are going to place it. This is what's so strange. Okay, something is not right here, because this is not fitting. I'm going to do the long railing first. I'm not sure what is happening here. And I'm not sure what I am doing. I'm sure it's something I'm doing wrong. So just bear with me as I kind of work out what it is that I'm doing incorrect. Because it shouldn't be anything. Unless this longer piece actually belongs down here and I had the orientation wrong, which I think is exactly what my problem was. Okay, so then I am going to go ahead and put a little more B7000 glue. And then once this dries, I don't want to mess with it too terribly much. I'm going to line it up as perfectly as I can, get it all situated in here. And honestly, I may not even need any stain. And I'm going to show you what it looks like, because you're not going to believe me. Unless I show you, I wouldn't believe me. Things like this break often. I wish that wasn't the case. It is. And when it does, it's, you know, especially if you're brand new, it's like your heart's in your throat and you're like, oh my God. Okay. So there is the piece that I just broke right here. You cannot tell that that was broken at all. And so it's fine. And it's together. And it was only because I thought that this longer piece went over here. And in fact, it didn't. It went down here. And that was my bad. And that's why, as I always keep saying, orientation, direction, whatever you want to call it, is important. I've done, like I said, 20, 25 of these. I make mistakes. I break pieces. Don't get upset. Okay, so that's all done. And now we want to put on E26. So E26 is going to go in here. And it's going to go right here on the floor. There are two pieces, and it's going to look like an open doorway, which is kind of cool. I like book nooks that have movement. This one doesn't seem to have really movement, but the pieces are done in such a way that it looks like the door is moving because it's cracked open, like so. Okay, and then the next thing we are going to do is we are going to turn it around again to where our railing is, and you're going to see that there are 3 holes. We're going to take, this is, believe it or not, all one piece. It's J13. There are 3 pieces. We're going to have the finished piece facing us. We are gently, these are thin pieces, so gently and firmly apply some pressure to put each of them in. Does not take a lot of pressure to get these pieces in. They're fitting nice. This last piece goes onto the side. I am going to put a little dab of glue into these tabs. This is the last piece. That is what that looks like. So it's pretty interesting. I'm curious as to kind of what that's going to be. All right, and then to finish up this step, we are going to take J51 and J52, which are a very dirty palette and a jar of equally dirty brushes. These are going to be placed in the spots near the footprints. There's more footprints up here. We got a lot of footprints. And there we go. So this is what the piece looks like. Finished. And that, I believe, concludes step 21. I'm just going to the next page just to see. Nope, that doesn't. We have a few more steps before we can get to step 22. So I'm going to pause and take a break here. Go spend some time with my fur babies and start supper. And then I will be back in just a little bit and we will conclude step 21 and we will move on to step 22 and we'll be hiding some keys in our key tracking book Nook. I hope you enjoyed this episode and I wish each of you enough.